Are we live?
We're live. Hi, y'all.
Hello, folks,
Welcome.
to the end of 2019. Kind of
Last live of the year.
a weird year. At least it has been for us.
Yes, it has been a wonderful year.
It's been a weird year, too. So
Yeah.
I guess weird and wonderful go together sometimes. But yeah, it's been a strange year. A lot of things have happened. This year, nothing really bad. I mean, we were fortunate in that we didn't lose any. Well, Carol
Family
Luster.
members.
Well, Carol lost her husband, but that's Kate's remaining sister. And she did lose her husband, but neither Kate nor I lost any what you could call blood relatives. Excuse me. I'm finishing my breakfast.
Hello, Heaven's Essentials. Hi, Gilbert. Good to see you both. Al Salcedo, hi.
Who?
Al Salcedo, KJ's Al.
I know.
Good
Good
to
afternoon,
see you
Al.
both.
Good to see you here. Didn't expect to see you. You kind of snuck up on us, didn't you?
Yeah. As I said, this is our last stream of the year, and we're kind of doing a little bit of a review. What have some of the good blessings in your year been this year? We've had some pretty wonderful stuff, not the least of which was we now have a wonderful front porch and ramp going from the front door all the way out to the driveway. And that is a marvelous blessing because it makes it so much easier to get in and out. Alyssa, it's good to see you.
Yesterday we put a cage together, bird cage.
Did what?
We put a bird cage together.
Yes, we did. We
Big.
put a huge
Big
bird
cage.
together.
Almost 80 inches tall.
Gilbert's got 2 promotions at work. That's
Oh, wow.
awesome, Gilbert. Building your garden and learning to can. Heaven's Essentials, that is wonderful. Lisa Johnson, good afternoon. It's good to see you.
I'll tell you what, 2 promotions at work in the same year, that is significant.
It sure is. And I have to ask you guys, pardon me, I was late doing things this morning. I managed to get my fresh, clean clothes on, get my hair covered up, but no makeup. So you're just going to have to do my natural beauty this time. Sorry about that.
She was making me another cup of coffee and some cinnamon toast.
Hello, Brenda, Duncan's 1900.
You have a list of the names that go with these people, right?
No,
You just
Just here.
remember them. Oh, okay.
not all of them, but a lot of them.
I need a cheat sheet. I
Maybe
really
I should
do.
do that to everyone. Brenda, we're talking about the blessings we've had this year. Alyssa says, I helped my 98-year-old neighbor fix her garden and rebuild a fence falling apart in her backyard.
Well, good for you.
That's wonderful. Green Raven, it's good to see
Good
you.
for you.
Football on at 4:30 instead of at 1. Yay! Football should be almost at an end, I hope. Oh,
I can't
thank you,
see.
Brenda.
She said that for me.
I appreciate that. You delivered your 4th grandchild. Lisa, that's
Wow.
exciting. I only have 2 grandkids and they live 3,000 miles. 3,000 miles?
No, about, in your case, about 2.
Yeah.
And in my case, maybe 2,500.
Okay. A long way away anyway.
Yeah, they're more than a hoot and holler, that's for sure.
I hope you get to see them often, Lisa. That is such a blessing.
So my grandson's going to be 19. I've never even seen him. That's just disgusting.
G. Murphy, Dave, I'm in the ex-Air Force veteran that
Oh,
based
yeah, I
in
was based at Torrejon. I
Torrejon,
remember that.
okay.
Yeah, Torrejon, Madrid, Spain.
I had to try and figure out
Yeah.
how that was.
That was Madrid's a very interesting city, I've got to admit. That's one of the probably favorite place that I lived when I was stationed overseas was there in Madrid. It was great. There was so much to do around there. There was just a lot of activities. Did you make it, Murphy, did you make it out to some of the surrounding areas, like going down to, you remember the Valley of the Fallen, the Valle de los Caídos? And then down to,
Because they were awesome places.
yeah, and then, these were outside of Madrid, but the Valley of the Fallen was is a monument to all the dead that fell in the Spanish Civil War.
Oh,
And it's an amazing place. I mean, it's very hard to describe. You got a 600-foot tall cross that's literally carved out of
is
a
that
mountain.
where that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's not the one down in South America. This
No,
is a
no,
different
I've
one.
seen pictures of the one in the mountain.
But it's awesome. And then underneath it is a cathedral that they carved out of the mountain.
Oh, how neat.
And it's really something to see.
Gilbert, if you have as many stories to tell of your time in Spain as David does, your family must know a lot of good things.
Well, there was a lot of stuff going on, and I didn't really get to go see as much as I wanted to, but a little bit of my job did call for some travel. So I got up to Barcelona and out to the islands and things of that sort to go out there and see some of that. Got down to Mallorca and Menorca, a couple places like that. But it was an eye-opening place. And this was the first time I was in Spain. Franco was still in power.
Hi, Howdy Garden. Welcome us. Join us.
So the whole country was still very much in the throes of being in the hands of a dictator. When I came back the second time, of course, Franco was dead, and Spain was just emerging out of the shadow of all of the, how can I phrase this, all of the
Franco
restrictions,
policies.
all the restrictions that Franco had on the country for so many years. So the people were just kind of exploding. I mean, they were finding all these new liberties and things to do and things of that sort, that it was very interesting to watch the Spaniards.
It was over
when I
30
was
for
there.
him, too.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I left there in 1982. So yeah, it was a long time ago.
It's great to check in on my wonderful YouTube community and the two I look up to most.
Whoa.
Oh, Miss Kate and Mr. David.
Alyssa, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alyssa. Have a happy New
Well,
Year.
happy
and
New
I hope
Year to
we'll
you
see you
too.
next year.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see next decade.
That
Next year,
too.
Yeah.
That too.
And next week.
My friend Kay of Kay Kittrell of the Late Bloomers Garden did her show this morning, and she was talking about it's a new year, a new week, a new decade, and also for her a new life. So
A new life. Why don't
yes,
you say that?
well, because she's is selling her
Oh,
house.
that's right. Yeah.
Having a
Yeah.
big move and all kinds of things.
I wonder.
Hmm?
Let's talk of the doggy.
Yeah, she's got a huge lot of stuff
Yeah,
going on.
2020 is
in her
going to
life.
be big for her.
So,
What? That's kind of another question. What sort of hopes might some of you have for 2020? What are you looking forward to and trying to bring about in the new year? Not so much
Well,
what
if
happened
you
to you already, but what do you want to happen?
if you ask a question, you have to start off with your answer to the question.
Well, I want to get a deck off the back of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the front porch finished up, cleaned, painted, weatherproofed, back in use. Buy you some toys, maybe? I don't know. A few things like that. I nothing for myself, really.
Brenda's looking forward to spring.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Spring here in Texas is kind of you just kind of slide into it. It's
Not really much different.
yeah.
Hello, Veronica. It's good to see you. Welcome.
It doesn't, you don't really notice a lot.
Anna Lynn is
Graduate
here.
from high school. That's
Very
a great goal.
good, Anna Lynn.
Great goal.
Do you think you'll go on to university after that, or are you going to get a job and go out into the workaday world? I remember graduating high school. My parents desperately wanted me to go to university, and I wanted to graduate and get away from school. So I did. Let's see. I'd like to get back to my 1979 Z28 back on the road.
Whoa, there you
You
go.
got it? You've got it? You just need to work on it? That's so cool.
That sounds pretty cool. Z28, that's a good car.
I had a friend
Good Camaros.
I had a friend in high school that drove those. Heaven's Essentials looks forward
Saving
to
money,
saving money, paying off debt, and being more
self-sufficient.
self-sufficient.
You know? Those are all laudable goals, that's for sure.
You know, that's something I've got to brag on us about. Dave's disability designation changed this year, and with it came some changes in our income. With those changes, we have been able to pay off most of our debt. We are putting money into savings, and hopefully we'll have the biggest debt, which is our home and land, paid for in the next 5 years. So 5 years, we
Yeah.
might do it. We might.
I was looking at the paperwork on our home loan today. I got to tell you, I'm due to get a refund on the property taxes that I paid for the last year because of my
Hi,
new
Casey.
VA disability. So I was looking at the records to see how much I was going to get back. So obviously, you see the amount of your house payment, which in our case is a little over $1,000. And then I was looking at, okay, what goes to the escrow account, what goes to property taxes, what goes to interest, and then what actually goes to the principal. Now, out of that little over $1,000, $253 went to the principal on our loan case.
That's why we need to pay more
$253,
each
less,
month just to principal.
less than
Liv, good to see you.
that. I mean, I knew that before, but to see it on screen and just kind of having all those numbers stare you in the face that do add up to your whole payment kind of makes you wake up and look at it and say, I'm paying twice as much interest as I am principal, if not more, actually more.
Almost 3 times.
Almost 3, because it's about 2.5 times more. And that's just ungodly. And we got a good rate. We got 3% when we moved in here. So it's not like we got ripped off.
No.
So yeah, I want to throw in a lot more.
And we're on
principal.
a 40-year note.
Okay, want to finish. Liv wants to finish her English class and pass. Good goal. Paint the house, finish the garden, and spend more time with my grandson. Good for you. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you here. Thanks for coming by.
Jason, it does sound and feel kind of like a credit card, only it's a lot more debt than a credit card.
Yep. Yeah, like it is. The interest rates on a credit card. You're right, Jason. It's luckily, even before my VA went up, we still had managed to keep our credit card debt down fairly low. So at least that's tolerable. And now it's,
Part of that is because I hate credit cards.
Now when I use a credit card, it's, buy something and
Pay it off.
hopefully pay it off in a couple, 3 months if need be.
Casey, the question or topic for today is basically, what do you want next year to hold for you?
Yeah,
Hello, Howie, and Happy New Year.
Hi.
It's good to see you too.
How did 2019 treat you, and what are you hoping for in 2020? What are your plans, your goals, your objectives?
Don't forget thumbs up, folks.
Not looking for New Year's resolutions, just kind of what you hope to accomplish or what you hope to see.
Or what are you
Come around
dreaming
for
about
that.
doing?
Yeah, that's probably a bigger area. What are you dreaming of doing? What would you like to do in 2020? Oh, now there's a topic.
I'd like to get my garden back going, and I'd like to get at least 15 moringa trees growing and in the ground.
What would I like to do in 2020 if I had very few restrictions? What would I want to do?
Good to have you here, Howard. Truly is. I've been doing a lot of research over the last 3 or 4 days on
Sure.
moringa, on its benefits, on its ease of growing, and apparently it should grow fairly easily here. And I'm looking forward to doing it this year. I had 5 moringa, but they were in pots, and we had an unexpected cold front, and it killed them all. So I'm starting from seed again.
Jason, getting in the earth and digging the garden, that's always a good goal. I know Kate really wants to do that this coming year.
KC, all you need is one. That wish would be that you get everything done you need to get done. That covers it all. Howie, how many more food forests do you want to start this year? He's amazing the way he starts food forests everywhere. On the side of rocky hills, he gets food forests growing. Where there's no dirt, he gets food forests growing.
Well, Duncan's hoping for better weather and plans to put in some raised beds. Hopes it doesn't drown again this year. Yeah, weather's really been kind of bugging me lately.
91? He wants 91 more food forests this year. You're going to be busy. Sorry.
I have some, I'm not going to say they're dire predictions, but just from the things that I've been kind of watching for this year, I think 2020 is going to be a rather revealing year in terms of how badly we're damaging our environment,
Veronica,
climate,
beautiful.
all that sort of things. Have people united, love each other, and have no more hate in the human heart. Take care of neighbor.
That's a beautiful thought.
That's, yeah,
A beautiful
we
thought.
wish. But I have a feeling it's going to be a tough year climatologically.
Warmer than it's been in a while.
You know, they're having so many problems right now down in Australia. I just read today that the fires down there, they fear have killed thousands of koalas that couldn't get out of the way in time. And of course, every year now down in Australia, you know, summer down there now, and they're having wildfires seemingly every year now that are just worse and worse and worse every year.
Gilbert, I
Okay,
agree,
Lisa.
a pathetic year. And Lisa, I hope you get your energy and health
Yep.
back.
Moving this year and retiring. That's a big deal. That's two major events. You know, there's the major events in a person's lives, the ones that cause the most stress or anxiety and all that stuff. You know, they're birth of a child, death of a spouse, moving, new job, retiring, things of that sort are all very big on those lists. Like to master another language. Well, how about English? 60% fluent in French. Ooh, up to 80.
Hello, Lou.
Me entiendo español tampoco, pero not nearly as much as I used to. I used to be really fluent in Spanish when I lived there.
Lou, is Phyllis
I forgot.
around? Tell her we said hi.
Poor pollinators. Oh my God, yes. The plant flowers and trees and don't spray deadly chemicals. I'm with you on that, Lou. I mean, I've always considered the little old ordinary bee to be one of our
Hello,
linchpin species. And if we don't quit fooling around and killing bees, we're going to wipe ourselves out. We won't have any way to grow new crops.
Hi, Phyllis. Brenda is
I don't
apparently
wanna-
visiting Phyllis and Lou.
Yeah, I don't want to get all down about it, but there's a few species out there that if we don't quit screwing around with them, we're going to really hurt ourselves. Would like to start collecting Social Security, actually make some YouTube videos, sell some craft stuff. Lisa, all good plans. Yeah.
Hi, farming in our backyard.
Sunday afternoon nap. Good idea. Good idea.
You have a good nap.
Anna Lynn, after school, study journalism. Need to learn how to live and take care of yourself in the next 6 months.
Yes, it does. Will be. I'm
Well,
probably allergic to honeybees.
You kind of
Do
get
my
dropped
best to
into it
help.
and you learn.
Hey, Broussards, how my Louisiana family today?
Yeah, well,
Hello,
Kate,
Iron Fire Horse.
Kate's got some allergies to some insect stings too, but they're wasps, so we don't.
Fortunately, the
I don't really
honeybees
care about
don't.
them. What's that? Show that. Let's see. Oh, another moderator handled that.
Thank you, Brenda.
I can't quite read that. It's going too fast.
What are you trying to catch up on?
Oh, that the people can learn from cross-sectional diagram.
Need to learn
Need
to-
100 to feed the city. I find myself in so the citizens can feed themselves. Completed 9 food forests with the help of other earthlings. Well, that's good.
And I have a copy of your cross-sectional diagram, and it's now online as well.
Casey, I agree with you totally. Their language is really good for mind-brain maintenance, as is dancing.
Thank you, Veronica.
Used to dance a lot more. Don't dance much no more. But anyway, Broussards, hi there.
They went to help somebody butcher hogs yesterday. We built a great big old bird cage yesterday. And I do mean big. It's what, 70 inches tall?
78 3/4 inches
78
tall.
3/4.
So it's
I mean,
almost 80 inches. It's,
I can't even reach the top of it when I'm standing in front of it.
my tallest cage previously at least a foot taller than that. I think
Yep.
the dog wants out. Sweetheart, you want to let
I'll
him
go
out or
let
shall
him
I? Seems to be wanting to go out for
All right,
something.
let's go.
Yep, wanting to go out for something. He'll be back in 5 minutes and want back in again, so.
If it takes that
Got
long.
something to check out. Got something to check out. Oh, Blue's out there too now. Never mind.
Yeah, that's what he saw.
Oh, he wanted to go out and be with Blue, probably. Blue's the cat, by the way.
Let's see.
Okay, let's see what do we got here. Yeah, that's feeding many people with the food forest. You're right. That's absolutely right. Yeah, allergies to bees, definitely true.
My
The dog
positive-
we have, Casey, is just a little mutt, just a little old mutt. Rescued, another family had him. They,
Hello, Dan Permaculture. It's
said
good
he
to
was
see you.
too active for them. Not that he gets much activity around here, but he just wasn't working out for them. So we took him off their hands at about a year old.
Yeah, and Casey, he's called a Chihunos. He's part Chihuahua and part Who Knows.
I don't think that works anymore.
Sure, it does. He's got to have some Chihuahua in him somewhere.
Maybe so. Okay. Hello, Dan. Positive side of dark. Good to see you here too. A lot of folks come in that
Gilbert, you'd be awful
some
here.
of our first timers.
Hello,
You're
fella.
right. Most of the governments are too stupid to do it. It amazes me how stupid the government is about home farming, small scale farming. All they're interested in is the ones that have 1,000 farms on a 500,000 acres.
By the way, Broussards,
they're missing all the family farms.
I haven't taken it off since I got it. For y'all that don't know, Brett Broussard makes these beautiful crosses out of horseshoe nails, and then he wraps them with colored wire, and he sells them on their Etsy store, and they're wonderful, and I absolutely love mine.
She also got her I'm drinking coffee with Broussard's cup this week.
Yes, you are.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the government is only concerned about money. That's absolutely true. They really don't have our welfare at heart. Not anymore.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to have to get some more of these. Mom and Dad both want one.
What do we got
Positive Side of Dark wants to know who's eating good today.
here? Are we eating good today?
Well, yeah, we are.
Are we?
I'm not sure
Okay.
what yet, but we're eating good today. Brenda,
Okay.
have a wonderful day and have a happy new year, and we'll see you next time.
Most definitely.
No, Casey, we're not being sponsored by the Broussards.
No, she just loves them.
They're my Louisiana family. Brett and Amy are the age of my kids, and I love them like they were my kids. And Abby, their daughter, is like my granddaughter. So they're not sponsoring us. We're not sponsoring them. I just love them.
No public trust in government. Food forest permaculture, that's absolute. I do not trust the government. Nope. Duncan, hi. Happy New Year to you too.
Duncan is leaving.
Oh, okay.
A huge
You
pot of
put
lentils
lentils
and
and
ham.
ham. That's a good New Year's meal. Round is the shape. You're right.
You're right.
Yep.
That's true, Brett. And I can't wait to hug those round shapes. I'm going to Louisiana to see them in June. So.
I'm still making my list of the Cajun dishes that I want. That I'm just going to try to pick maybe 3 at most.
Thank you, Casey.
Okay.
I'm going to try making some bean and ham soup in the pressure cooker. I mean, in the pressure canner. I want to can the beans with the ham and other stuff. Fried duck. You know, positive side of rock, I have never eaten duck. I've eaten duck eggs, but I've never eaten duck. So, and I think they're so cute, I'm not sure I could eat them. Nah,
I
could
haven't
eat
had.
'em.
I don't think I've had it fried. I've had Peking duck one time in Madrid at a Chinese restaurant. Actually, kind of a strange place to get Peking duck, but
I can't wait till June either, guys.
I tell you what, if there were a way to get our birds babysat during that period of time, I'd come along, but it just ain't going to happen. There's nobody around here that can take care of 3 big macaws. Just won't happen.
Oh, very good. Was it easy? Heaven's Essential? I haven't tried that yet. Muscovy duck is delicious, according to Brett.
I'm not sure.
Uh-uh.
Is that a
Howie
right?
says that duck was peeking at you.
That was bad.
That was Howard.
That was bad.
That was Howard.
That was bad.
I've got to look up a recipe because I really want. I've got some leftover ham Mom gave me after Christmas, and I've got all kinds of beans in there. So I want to do some bean and ham soup and send some
Well,
to my dad.
we need to have some black-eyed peas and ham on New Year's Day too. You know,
Oh, I didn't think about that. You're right.
it's my dad's custom.
Ooh, wild boar stew. That sounds good. I love wild boar almost as much as venison.
Well, I won't say that. You're right. Don't say never, but I'm not even sure God could find anybody that could take care of our birds around here. You got to remember these birds are, number one, they're spoiled, and number two, they're big. And number two, three, most people are terrified of them. They're just terrified. So it's a challenge.
Lisa, I got an Instapot for Christmas, and I have made some of the best gelatinous chicken bone broth I have ever had in my life in that little Instant Pot in 2 hours. It used to take me 2 days to make it on the stovetop, cooking it slow and low. I like the Instant Pot for making bone broth.
Yeah, you haven't done much else with it, actually, have you?
No, I
Besides
haven't
that,
been
but-
too busy making bone broth. I drink at least a cup of bone broth every morning, and it really seems to be helping my gut issues.
It's like Heaven's Essential's been busy today.
Hard
18 pints and a big vat of soup. Cool.
18 pints and a big vat. That is awesome. That's going to be 18 meals. You won't have to cook. You just have to heat up. That's great.
Well, I wish I could agree
Hi,
with you
Bandana
on
Grandma.
the governments of the world stopping being so corrupt. It's a great prayer, but I just don't see it happening. It goes too deep, and there's too much evil, too much corruption, and
Gilbert, that's what I'm planning on using on
ooh,
mine.
great northern beans, onions, and ham chunks. Now that's perfect. That's really good. I like northern beans.
I'll tell you what, I didn't think I wanted an Instant Pot because I have a stovetop pressure cooker. But the nice thing about the Instant Pot is, number one, you throw everything in there, close the lid and push a button. 2 hours or whatever length of time later, you come back and it's done.
Iron Firehorse is asking, what setting do you use for the bone broth?
I'm sorry?
What setting do you use for the bone broth?
Soups, I think is what it's called. I put it on high for 2 hours.
Here's Bandana Grandma. Ham and bacon, ham and bean soup right now. Yep.
This must be the
Ooh.
time for ham and bean soup.
Well, I think the custom is, you try to have black-eyed peas and well, my dad was black-eyed peas and ham hocks on New Year's. Does everybody else kind of know of that tradition or follow that one? I'm just curious as to.
Actually, I
Who all
prefer
knows that
Hoppin'
one?
John.
Well, yeah, Poppin' John's another one, yeah, or
Hoppin'
Hoppin' John,
is
yeah,
wonderful.
yep.
I love it. Canned, so rewarding. Yeah. Cooks rice really good. You know, I have the rice cooker steamer thing on order. It should be here on the 9th of January. I'll be able to try that too.
Got an Instant Pot last year and took it back for
crock pots.
4 crock pots.
Well, I have 2 crock pots, but I like the quickness of the Instant Pot for bone broth. That's all I've cooked in it, but I like that.
Casey is at a church shooting here in Texas today. So I just read this morning in the paper, in 2019, there were over 410 people killed in mass shootings
Ham hocks and
nationwide
cabbage.
during 2019.
Bruce, I've heard of black-eyed peas, ham hocks, and cabbage.
Now, I've never heard of cabbage.
I haven't heard of putting cabbage either, but it still sounds good. Lisa Clark says black eyed peas are always a
Yeah,
tradition.
that's it. My dad swore by that. He had to have black eyes and ham hocks. That was the deal on the 1st of January. If he didn't get it, he'd move heaven and earth to make sure that got done.
Gilbert says he leans towards sauerkraut and sausage.
No, that wouldn't bother me a bit either. That sounds good.
Oh, cabbage on the side, Brett says.
Steamed horsetails? Oh, yeah, go get them. Yeah, go for it. Yep.
Cornbread. Yes, Lisa. Always cornbread.
Yeah, cornbread.
Although this year, instead of making plain cornbread, I may be making acorn bread. I finally got my first batch of acorns cleaned and dried, dehydrated, chopped up, and it's a meal, kind of like cornmeal, not a light flour.
Oh, it took her about, 4, 5, 6 hours to make maybe 12 ounces.
Hey, it's an experiment. It's supposed to take
true.
a while.
That's true.
Cabbage
Well,
rules.
cabbage
Gilbert.
rules coming in and going out, doesn't it? Everybody around to know you had
Jovelyn's life.
cabbage a couple days
Hello,
ago.
welcome. I'm glad to see you. I think I
Jovelyn's wife. Who might that be? Do you know that one?
No, that's a new lady.
Hi there.
person.
Hello. Welcome.
I'm glad to see you. Happy New Year.
Tell us a little about yourself.
Yes,
Candy
Evelyn,
still? Oh, yeah, Candy's still
Candy
here.
is in his cage. He and the other two tried to get into fights this morning, and so I put them all away, and they're all being very quiet, and I'm encouraging it.
They
Recently ordered a turkey Reuben sandwich, and they sweetened the sauerkraut with brown sugar. It was so good.
well, that's not good.
Sweet sauerkraut.
Sounds kind of good.
Would
With
that be
the,
sweet kraut, not sauerkraut?
With the new cage that we put up yesterday, there's still kind of some confusion in the bird room about who goes where and what.
No, I don't believe we've seen
So-
Jovelyn before.
So they've been kind of wandering around trying to figure out their new geography.
Oh, it's sweet and sauerkraut.
Oh, okay. I'm Jovelyn's name does not ring a bell with me, but don't trust my name recall
I don't
for sure.
recall it either.
So,
I think
I-
it's
you
a
know,
new person.
I mean, I sometimes don't even recognize Kate here. But,
And he gave me the name. You'd think he would remember it.
oh, I say nay to that. Iron Fire Horse is on a roll today. You know that?
Oh, yeah? What's she doing? Let's see.
She's just got something smart ass to say about everything. and
She's a
funny.
pretty smart person. Yeah.
funny, smart, Oh, but yeah, Gandy's still around. In fact, they're being amazingly quiet today, folks. I mean, I'm surprised that they're not screaming and yelling. You know how they usually get whenever we're doing our live streaming. They're
Especially
screaming
right
with
now
them.
because he's been so talkative.
I
to
probably
them.
just jinxed them, and now they're all going to start screaming. Oh, well.
Drain my sauerkraut and add a half a cup of sugar when I make cabbage rolls. Bandana Reza says, witty is funny and smart.
That's true. And can be a little bit sarcastic and irreverent, too. So, yeah. It all works out.
I have only made, oh, wait a minute. I'm just regular smart, as for sure. It's my specialty.
See, Southern Blessed Homestead is doing their first live stream today at 2:00. I'm not familiar with them. Do you know them as a provider?
Yes, I do. I see
Okay.
them on the Broussard thing at 2:00. Well, unfortunately, that's the second hour of this one.
Yeah, if we do go over.
If this one closes early, I'll run over there. Yeah, and Lynn, it's true. It's a little quieter than we're used to, but I'm enjoying it, believe me.
Yeah, right now I am
You
too.
guys have snow. We had snow in 1987 that stayed on the ground for about 12 hours. That's about the most recent we've had snow that you could really count on.
Yeah, we had a little overnight snow here about a year ago. A little over a year ago. They had snow here on the ground, and
But it didn't stay on the ground even
no,
12 hours.
it didn't stay on the ground very long. And it was the great blizzard of 2018.
Yes.
You
Thank you. If we close early, which I sometimes do, I'll scoot over there.
Actually, I think they did. There was still snow on the ground by the time it was time to go to school and things of that sort. And I think they actually did. They ran the buses late that day and all kinds of stuff. because of the snow. Yeah, Texas would just kind of grind to a halt if they got some of the snow that I used to get in Omaha.
Well, North Texas does, but here, no.
Yeah, well, that's different. That's hardly Texas anymore. You know, it's
Hey, it is all the way
Well-
up to New York. It's Texas.
I don't know. I've lived in Wichita Falls, and I'll tell you what, that's a different kind of Texas.
Yep, but it's still Texas.
It's still Texas, but it's a whole different kind of Texas.
Mhm. I agree, Broussard. What snow? When I was a kid, I lived in Corpus, and it snowed once, and I could see it, but I didn't believe it. So I took a mirror and went out and caught a couple of snowflakes on the mirror, and then I believed it.
Okay, it's Iron Fireworks. It's raining and the snow's almost gone in my part of Canada, but it was raining like crazy in the California desert.
Snowing like crazy.
Snowing like crazy. Something wrong with that. But yeah, you're right. Well, what was I saying a while ago? Climate change is
And climate is
it's
changing
getting
like crazy.
it's getting really. We're only going to be able to ignore it for so much longer, folks, and even the naysayers and deniers, whenever they're standing up to their knees in water, I'm going to say, "Oh, what's that?"
I learned something this past week.
You did.
I did. And believe me, I treasure it because it doesn't happen often.
Well, lay it on us, baby cakes.
The kelp beds in the ocean provide as much oxygen as all the trees and grasses in the world.
In the Amazon.
Mhm.
If I remember what you saw, it was that it provides as much oxygen as all the trees in the Amazon
Oh, I
forest.
thought it said in the whole world.
Not all the
Either
grass-
way, it's amazing.
all the grasses in the world. That covers a lot of ground. But anyway, weather's been crazy. Things are blooming here like it's spring. Clovers and dandelions are blooming. Yeah,
I've been
it's,
picking dandelions already.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I keep my eye on is birds, and as you well know.
Yes, Will.
And one of the things they're finding now consistently, pretty much year after year, is that migrating birds, whenever they're coming up from the south, typically they have like a line that they come up to that you could call the north-south line. Well, on average now, that line has moved almost 400 miles north over the last 10 years. So the migrating birds that are coming up, let's say that they drew the line, let's say at the north border of Nebraska, which is actually where one of them used to be. Well, now that's halfway up into the next state. What's above Nebraska? South Dakota? Is that right?
I'm sorry.
What's above Nebraska? Is it South Dakota?
Yes.
Anyway, they're moving, a couple hundred miles up into South Dakota now, and that's the northern edge of their range for their migration. That kind of stuff is scary, folks. It really is. All right, Tweed Forest Permaculture, take care. Thanks for coming by.
Yes, please do. It's so good to see you. And
Yeah,
we'll see
remember
you
the homeless.
later this afternoon, I hope.
Well,
Gilbert, I agree. I honestly believe it is the prelude to the coming of Christ as well.
there's definitely signs for the end times if you look at it that way.
Broussard said their birds look confused.
I'm not surprised. They probably are confused. That's another thing. The electromagnetic field of the earth is changing. So that's one of the reasons that birds are getting screwed up too. And as you well know, the earth tilts at 21 degrees. But that tilt, after a while, becomes somewhat irreversible. And the electromagnetic field, or our magnetic field really, flips. And it does so roughly, well, it's not on a timetable, but it's done it several times in history. And of course, what that's going to do is it'll take us back to the pre-industrial age until we can get everything rewired so that it goes back to opposites and positives and negatives and polarity. So it'll turn everything around. Everything runs backwards, I guess.
Hey,
I don't know.
if that happens
don't know.
here, does that mean that when the water goes down the drain, it goes counterclockwise and then it'll go clockwise now if
I
it
think
changes?
that's gravity. That's not
okay.
magnetism. I'm seeing many different birds here that haven't been before. I'm not surprised because they're coming up further from the south. It's messing with butterfly migrations. It's messing with hummingbird migrations. It's messing with everything. So, and it's not all climate change. There's some of this stuff has to do with the Earth's magnetic field,
Iron
and
Fire
things.
Horse said they had snowy owls for the last few years, and then they bulldozed their nesting grounds for a rock concert that didn't even happen. That infuriates me. That makes me so angry.
I saved a snowy owl when I was up in Alaska. I was stationed on a little island called Shemya, which is out in the Aleutians, and I was the vet tech there. So I took care of, well, sanitation, but there were some critters there on the island. And a snowy owl had flown into one of the guy wires of one of our radar outfits and broke a wing. So some guys brought him to me, and to make a long story short, we nursed him back to health and turned him loose and got him back out into the wild. So I've been up close with great snowy owls, and
That makes my
that's
stomach
infuriating.
upset.
That is just infuriating.
Yeah.
That's too bad. I'm really sorry about that.
Thanks, Will. We think you're great too.
Yep, grand solar minimums mixed with the natural climate change and, of course, the weather manipulation. Okay, Veronica, what weather manipulation? What are you talking about there, darling?
How about the reflected heat from all of the new solar panels that are going in?
Most of that is absorbed, darling. That's why they're black. They absorb the heat, they don't reflect it.
Okay.
But that's not to say that that's not a factor.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there are critters all over the world having a real hard time. I can't allow myself to think about it too much because it just tears me up.
When I think about things like that, I then go and watch some of the programs that we have saved on our channel that are from places like the Chester Zoo, where they're working so hard to reestablish some of the animals and fish and birds and everything else that are so endangered. That it kind of gets my mind off the ones that are being badly treated, and it gives me some hope that maybe in the future there'll be something. Oh,
But I can't help but be cynical too, because like even the zoos that are, well, let's say trying to bring back the black rhino, they're never going to bring them back. They're going to be an extinct species in the wild. The only place we're going to have them is zoos. And they keep talking about, well, we'll have enough to release back into the wild. No, they won't.
Lisa, I expect the bluebonnets to be in full bloom by mid-April at the very latest.
Chemtrail spraying. That's one
I'm sorry?
who's that? G. Murphy? Who's that? Gilbert?
Mm-hmm.
Gilbert talking about the
The
chemtrail spraying. And that's not one that I've really followed up much on, but it could very well be a factor. All of it is. All of it is. That's the hell of it. Having a good time is more important to many these days. You're right about that, Iron Fire Horse.
That's sad.
Yep.
It really is
Just
sad.
having a good time. That's what it's all about. If it bothers other people, who cares? You know, I'm having a good time. Leave me be.
Oh, really, Iron? What about this? What about the rhinos in India?
Yeah, tell me. Excuse me.
One of these zoo programs we watch is breeding. Is it the white rhino that they're
The
breeding?
black rhinos.
The black rhinos.
Yeah, there's only northern female. You know, there's
White northern.
there's one program where they are basically the males are extinct, and all they've done is they've saved a lot of embryos.
I thought they saved the sperm.
Well, that too. I mean, they've saved the fertilized embryos, and they're trying to implant black rhinos with the white rhino implants and see if they will throw a genuine white rhino. They've had a couple of surrogate births of samples, not the white rhino, because those are incredibly rare embryos. So they were using implanted black rhinos as a testing bed, and they worked. At least one of them did.
That's
Out
true.
in it's in Ohio, I believe it was, that it worked. And they've been trying to do that out in San Diego. And they also have breeding programs at the Chester Zoo over in England.
That's
Most
right.
of the young people
That's
nowadays
right,
have
Brett.
no idea where their food comes from, so they don't have respect for animal lives. You're right about that.
They know where their food comes from because their food comes from the grocery store. Those of us who raise our own have a whole different attitude.
Well, we probably won't ever get to it, but one of the things that I've always thought should be part of high school curriculum is some courses in kind of this is what the world's really like, folks. And you go out to a poultry processing plant where you see them kill the chickens and with pigs and cows. I've been through all those places. I used to have to inspect them. And even as an adult, when I went in there, it was pretty shocking to see how they actually process.
Tim says the reflective heat is from the tin foil he likes wearing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You're supposed to turn the shiny side in.
I'm at Joe's Smokehouse and Barbecue. Is that another new one?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome, Joe.
Casey, let us know. Try hitting refresh and let us know if we're still buffering. We've been on 46 minutes. We shouldn't be yet.
We've had pretty good luck the last couple of weeks with no buffering. Okay, we're still rolling.
I had someone tell me this is wrong to kill animals.
Yeah, there you go.
You should buy your food from the store where no animals are.
I see memes like that all the time on Facebook. You know, stop killing animals. Buy your meat at the store. You know? Yeah, and but anyway, I think children nowadays, maybe
good
sophomore year in high school, they ought to be shown where our food comes from, and not only how it's grown, but how it's slaughtered and processed and packaged and everything else, because they live in a sterile world. They don't ever see an animal's pain. They don't ever see an animal die.
Blake from Daddy Curb's farm.
Yeah.
His brother is a teacher in California.
Yeah.
Sorry, Annalyn, you got it.
Who asked for that?
He teaches life skills, like he teaches kids gardening.
Oh.
And he teaches kids things like how to write a check and how to balance a checkbook and all that kind of thing. He's some kind of a special magnet school. And he's doing a beautiful job out there. So some people are trying to fill in some of those holes.
Well, that's also because, I mean, we don't live in a sterile world. That's all there is to it.
That's true.
Okay, let's see.
There he is.
The Iron Horse seeing the wheel of doom spinning, but the video is still going. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and if they knew how the animals are grown and treated, you're right about that too.
Oh my gosh. Did you see
It
that?
is horrible.
Tim Turner says he hears stop killing chickens to get their eggs. Oh my goodness. Hello, Tammy Time. It's nice to see you. Welcome. This is our third new person this week.
Tim, that's a good one. Hello, Tammy. Welcome.
If you guys enjoyed this live stream, please hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you'll get a reminder telling us every Sunday we come on.
Yeah, if you're new here, feel free to introduce yourself. Maybe just tell us where you're from and maybe how you came to drop by here.
And where you found us. Or how you found us, I should say.
Okay. Tim, it's good to see you here too, by the way, partner.
And thank you for the laugh.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, let's see. Before we moved, after I stopped working, we got our chicken, pork, and beef from an organic family farm and a lot of our veggies in the summer, so my kids learn reality. Very good. Very good. Yep.
I've had you, don't recall when, but I've had you.
I'll tell you, the one that kind of, I don't know, I'd say bothered me the most when I first went through it was a pork processing plant, because
you know what bothers me?
It ain't pretty, and it stinks. It stinks.
There used to be a lot of good channels on YouTube that would show real life. They would show things like how to butcher and defeather and cut up a chicken or a hog or whatever. And YouTube won't allow that to be done anymore, and they'll jerk your channel if you try.
Well, nowadays, even like on Alaska: The Last Frontier, they put up the warning, that Animals may die here. Like whenever they go out and they shoot an elk or a deer or whatever, they'll show them getting shot, but they don't show any of the skinning out or any of the, the packing up the pieces and parts in their bags to bring back.
Right.
So everybody gets these, even from these shows, they get this sterile view of what it's really like.
I'm glad you came by. Go moderate for Lynn. Have a
Yep.
great, happy new year, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care, Gilbert.
My scarf keeps sliding back.
And Lynn, good to see you too.
Are you going away too, Veronica?
Yeah, Lisa, YouTube is censoring a lot of stuff, but
I guess they haven't censored me for two reasons. First is there's just not a whole lot controversial about what I do. And secondly, I'm not monetized and not trying to be monetized. So if they make money on my channel, they get to keep it all. So if they get to keep all the money, that probably makes them happy to have me. What do you think?
I think there needs to be some competition for YouTube, but it's going to
I wish.
It'd be real hard to put together, but they've got such a corner on the market now. I mean, how many billions of people actually use YouTube and Facebook too? So they're both
And
just.
Brett, the most amazing thing is those same people that are offended go to the horror shows and watch all that blood and guts splattered around and teenagers screaming.
Yeah, but that ain't real. That's just special effects. That's how they kill them
too,
animals
Veronica.
too. That's all just special effects. There really ain't no blood.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Veronica, you have a happy new year. Please come back next week. We love to see you. Yeah, I don't care for horror flicks or movies that show a lot of blood and guts for no reason, but it does not upset me at all to butcher a chicken or a feather, to pull off the feathers of quail or whatever else needs to be done, because you're preparing food. You're not out there doing something for the fun of splattering blood all over everything.
Speaking of watching stuff, we've been watching a great deal of Doctor Who on BBC the last few days. The last time I checked, we had over 50 episodes backed up on our DVR.
Amazing.
In preparation for their premiere for the new season with the first female Doctor, which is on New Year's Day. So they've been showing a lot of selected episodes from years past. Anybody else out here a Doctor Who fan?
Lisa, I think they don't censor the channels with the filth and swearing because not enough people get out there and complain. I really do. You don't kill animals.
There you go. You
harvest
harvest your animals for food. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. One of the things I've noticed on, for example, on Alaska, The Last Frontier, is they always thank the animal for giving itself, and that to me is important too. If you're grateful for what you've taken, that's good.
I love it. Iron Firecrest says, I can't watch fictional blood and guts. The last one I went to at the theater, I was screaming and turned around in my chair and people threw food at me. Oh, poor baby. That must have been impressive and frustrating. That's right. It's not a sport. It is a way of life.
Yep. And those that understand that, I really do detest trophy hunters, though, I got to admit. I detest trophy hunters.
Mm-hmm. I was never.
Doctor Who used to watch it over in Scotland, and you probably saw the one where Queen Victoria was up in Scotland.
Good for you.
And almost got taken by a vampire or a werewolf, right?
I don't watch horror films. People make fun of me for not watching horror films, but I don't watch them. Believe it or not, they give me bad dreams. They really do. Now I can, like I said, I can harvest animals for food, but watching one of those things gives me a bad dream. And sometimes those bad dreams last for weeks.
Tim, you're right. They're just going out and they just want the one with the most points, the biggest rack. They're not looking to feed their family with it. In fact, some of them literally leave the carcass in the forest, and that's just sick.
My sister's husband, who passed this last year, was a hunter, and every Thanksgiving and every Christmas he would go hunting. And many of the time, I would get a huge venison steak or a big hog, half a hog or something. He loved to hunt, and we always shared what he harvested. It was wonderful,
There you go. That's the way you hunt to feed people, Tim. That's true.
right? Iron Fire Horse, they give you bad nightmares too?
I quit watching horror movies whenever they stop being scary. I mean, it's
Lisa, I am an Old West fanatic. When I was a kid, I used to spend all Saturday afternoon watching John Wayne and all that and ironing my dad's uniform shirts. So I love old Westerns, and I still love to iron. Tammy.
I'll tell you what, you can almost define a hunter with that right there, Tammy. Is a real hunter shares their what they've taken with others. You know, there's often there's more than what they can use themselves, or there are things that just lend themselves to sharing. And that's kind of the way I sort of define a real hunter, because a real hunter will share. That's very true. Yeah, now that's another thing, Tim, tracking rather than just sitting in a tree and waiting for something to wander by. That's not hunting.
Gunsmoke, that was a
Yep.
great one.
Yep.
Great show. No matter how many horns they
There you
have,
go. It's
all
about the
about
meat to feed
meat.
everybody. You're absolutely right.
Amen.
I think everybody here kind of feels the same about hunting, which I'm glad to hear.
Well, I agree. Festus was wonderful.
Yep. And
Lisa loves to iron
somebody
too.
else who loves to iron.
Yay, somebody else that likes to iron.
Oh boy.
My dad was a police officer, and the uniforms that he wore had pleats down the back from the bib across the side down. There were at least 3, and in some of his uniform shirts, there were 5 of them. Mama hated to iron them, and I would get those pleats ironed in and straight as an arrow, and Daddy always used to tell me he could tell when I'd ironed his uniform shirts because the pleats always looked so good. That was something I just delighted in doing. I never got to iron his shirts for uniforms because he was out of the Air Force before I met him.
Well, I was lucky most of the time that I was a medic, and our uniforms got done for us.
Oh, okay.
Which and then after when I got into computers, and yeah, I needed to have my shirts done. But
Lisa's father was in the military. You know all about uniforms. Yeah.
what branch was he in, Lisa? Just out of curiosity.
It's so nice to find somebody else that likes to iron. Now I don't feel like I'm so unusual. My mom loves to iron too. She said it relaxed her. It does me. It truly does.
Okay, besides that harvested 2 hogs yesterday, nothing was wasted.
He was in the Army.
Meat went between 4 families. That's cool. That's good.
It is awesome.
Yep.
He was 30 years in the Army, Lisa's dad. Like,
Yeah,
how many years was Tom in? Do you have any idea? Had to have been at least 25
well,
or 30.
it was probably closer to 30. I think he retired as a major.
Mm-hmm.
That's
My stepdad.
Kate's stepdad. But in my family, my dad, who was a World War II veteran, and then joined the Air Force soon after it formed in 1947. And he retired with 21 years of active service. And then my brother, who went into the Army, lying about his age at 16, became, number one, he was a paratrooper. Then he became a fixed wing pilot. Then he became a helicopter pilot. He spent 30 years. And then I spent 20. So between my dad, my brother, and myself, we have 76 years of total active federal military service. Wait a minute.
My grandfather
20,
was
40,
in the
60,
cavalry.
70, 71. Okay.
He was in the cavalry, and then he left the cavalry and joined the Navy. And my dad wanted to go into the Army, but he was only 14 when World War II broke out. He stole somebody's birth certificate and got into the Marines and made it all the way through boot camp before they discovered he was only 14 and sent him home.
Whoa.
By the time the
14.
Korean War came around, he had 4 children, and they wouldn't take him because he had too many dependents. So he didn't get to serve even though he wanted to.
Wow.
Broussard says, thank you for your service.
You're very welcome. It was,
Yeah, it did. Lisa.
I didn't realize it at the time, but it was a privilege. I just kind of thought I was doing my job. Turned out it was a real privilege.
With starch, we had
the spray cans, yeah, old Stay Puffed instant starch.
We had a tub that sat in the sink, and you mixed the starch with water and put them in there and wrung them out real good, and then put them in a plastic bag. And we got ready to iron. We had a Coke can or Coke bottle with this little thing that stuck in it on a
sprinkler thing.
And it had a sprinkler head. And you take it out and you sprinkle it, and then you iron away, and the starch was already there.
Yep, I remember that. Oh, tell you what, though, things are far different for veterans nowadays than they were.
Yes, they are.
When I first retired back in 1987.
They're far different than they were when kids came back from Vietnam.
Oh, well, yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah, I have to admit that.
I lost a lot of friends in Vietnam, and a couple of my friends that lived through it and came home were never the same. I see Broussard. Brett, you take care.
Good to see you, Brett.
Tell them we said hi, and I'll try and come by later. We love y'all, and I'll see you. Happy New Year.
Lisa was just going to ask you to use the Coke bottle sprinkler.
Yep, I sure did. Sure did. And that little thing you put in the top, you had to go to the 5 and Dime to buy a new one when the old one wore out.
You could get one at Woolworths or
the 5 and Dime
place like that.
Woolworths, yeah.
Take care. We'll see you later.
Those are some good memories, you know. When I was a kid, I wasn't too sure I liked it. I mean, I love to iron, but sometimes I want to do something else on Saturday afternoon.
One of the things that I remember that I used to dislike was, do you remember the pant leg stretchers that people put in denims?
Yes. Mostly on blue jeans.
On blue jeans, yeah. On blue jeans and Levi's.
Welcome back.
Those things were a pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to sometimes help my mother because we'd have to go to the laundromat.
Right.
Where we lived, we didn't have a washer and dryer. And that was one of my jobs. Whenever my pants would come out of the dryer, the washer.
Yeah.
Then I'd have to put them on those stretchers and hang. But stretchers were a pain in the butt.
Tim, until about 10 years ago, I still had the iron that my grandmother used to heat on her wood burning stove to do their clothing. And unfortunately, my house was broken into and everything was stolen. And that was one of the things that went. So
yeah, she lost a lot of real
5 and Dime
memorabilia stuff. Excuse me.
Ironed and starched just about everything. Yep. We even did T-shirts and pillowcases and sheets for the bed. My mom liked everything starched and ironed.
I used to iron my handkerchiefs.
Yeah, I've ironed many a handkerchief. Most people don't iron sheets and pillowcases, though. That's kind of unusual. Tablecloths, yes,
sheets,
but the others not necessarily.
The sheets, yeah. The pillowcases, maybe not so much, but yeah.
And here's something that y'all will probably laugh at, but when I go to the store and I get money in change that's really ragged looking, I have been known to pull out my iron and my spray starch and give them a little go at.
Iron your money?
Mm-hmm. They fit in your wallet better if they're flat.
Okay.
Told you they think we're crazy, but I do.
I married a crazy lady.
You're just learning that. Javelins, thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. You're from Germany.
Oh,
I wondered
Germany.
where you were from. Do
Well,
come
thanks for
back
coming
next
by.
Sunday. We really enjoyed having you. Get some good rest and Happy New Year.
Yep. Thanks for coming by.
Iron Firehouse, most of our money is plastic, but we do still here in Texas use the old fashioned paper kind. And I do occasionally get them that are really bad shape. And I'll iron them. Kind of hard to iron pennies, though.
Okay. If you think you're going to get a rise out of me over that, you're
Yeah,
wrong.
kind of like ironing plastic. They're both kind of hard to iron.
Hmm.
Gilbert Chew, I've done that too. They go into the vending machines there. That's right, they do. You get some of those old grumpy messed up ones and they won't even go into the machines, but you put an iron and a little bit of starch on them, they slide right in.
Okay.
He doesn't go to the vending machine, he sends me.
Well, you volunteer.
Yes, I do. I'm not fussing. Tammy, I'm going to run and grab something to eat. Yes, Mom irons sheets and hankies, t-shirts, anything and everything. My ex-husband used to iron all my clothes. I even used to iron cotton underwear, so I'll iron just about anything as long as the iron doesn't melt it.
Tammy, thank you for coming by. We do appreciate your presence. I hope you click the thumbs up just to let us know you were here.
And do subscribe if
And
you haven't.
if you would like to subscribe, we'd be happy to have you back.
Ah,
Yeah, the money. Now, I tell you what, money changers at laundromats, they will.
that's
Those
getting
things will
the
eat your
rest.
money. Yeah. Yeah, those things will eat your money.
Gilbert says it's okay that you made a crazy lady.
How-
Thank you, Gilbert.
How do you know that's what he's talking about?
Hmm?
How do you know that's what he's talking about? You
I just
said-
do.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, if it was wrinkled, it got starched and ironed. Yes, I agree. Except my face. It doesn't get starched and ironed. It
Boy,
wouldn't help.
I'd like to iron mine nowadays.
Pardon?
I'd like to iron mine nowadays.
No, I don't think it would help yours either.
Well, gee, thanks.
Anna Lynn, sometimes I have this feeling I don't really get everything that's being discussed here due to my age and me living in Europe, so I can't really give an opinion. I'm
I
sorry.
don't
Anna
know.
Lynn.
I'll put it this way, Anna Lynn. I've lived in Europe in several different places. If you're talking about just getting everything, darling, just ask. We'll try to make it plainer or explain it differently. Don't stay away because you don't think you're just up on what's going on here, because this is by no means the center of the world. So if you've got questions about something that's said here by either Kate or myself or anybody else, please feel free to ask. If I can, I'll break it down and explain it for you, and if need be, because I'd rather have you here and participate and feel comfortable
Yes.
rather than hang back simply because you think that what your understanding of something might not be as current as everybody else's. Just ask away, darling. We'll help you out.
And remember, a lot of what we say is based on memories from a long time ago.
I love having folks from other countries here. It's you have to remember, I lived in expat communities for many years of my life. When I was in Izmir, I lived with people probably from 15 different nationalities. In Spain, I lived kind of among the Spaniards. I mean, I was adopted by a Spanish family the first time we were there, and we spent 2 years essentially just as Spaniards. So
You're
I
very
sometimes feel
welcome
like I
here.
have a European heart. Part of it's American, part of it's European. So ask
And
away,
I-
sweetie.
I've never lived outside of the U.S. and only lived about
Oh, she's
36
been a
months
subscriber
away
for
from
months.
Texas. But for many years, I worked in Austin at the University of Texas in the science labs, where there were people from all over the world working in those science labs. So although I've not lived in other countries, I have many, many friends from many, many different countries.
And we treasure every one of you that comes here.
he-
Tammy apparently has been a subscriber for months.
I'm glad you have.
And Gilbert says he was talking about me thinking it's crazy to iron money. So there you go.
And who does the earning of the money?
You
Okay,
know,
I
you
made
wanna
my
do that?
point.
Knock yourself out, sweet cakes. Knock yourself out. Oh boy.
That's true. Everyone jumps in around
Yeah,
here.
it's This is not a linear conversation, folks.
No.
By any means.
Like I've said almost every time I've done a live stream, to me, this is like sitting in the living room with all of you, my friends, just chatting and having a good time. So,
Yeah,
if
it
you're
is.
one of the friends, please join the conversation.
And sometimes I talk too much, though.
Hmm?
Sometimes I talk too much.
Sometimes. Sometimes I do too. Gilbert says Ishmael, I don't know. They're awesome.
Izmir, Yenishir, Istanbul.
Yeah, those. But not a safe
Not
place to be
anymore. I wouldn't go there now with $1 million in my pocket and a staff of 10 bodyguards. You're right. That's when I lived in Izmir. It was back in the I got there and was there from 75 until late 78, so almost 4 years. Loved it. Loved Izmir. A wonderful city. Got to see a lot of stuff there. Got up to Istanbul, got to the Grand Bazaar, got down to the coast and spent some time down.
And Tim, if I see you next
all
time
over
I
the
have
place.
my iron, I'll be happy to iron your tinfoil hat.
Sounds like we've had a lot of the same travels, Gilbert. That's kind of interesting. When did you retire? Ironing a foil hat. Okay, yeah.
Our Turkish Air Force counterparts were awesome guys.
We had a Turk that worked in our office, a guy named Fari Kirkle. He taught me a lot about Turkey. He became a
Thank
very
you,
good
Jason.
friend. Very good friend.
Tim Turner says if I've got $1 million in my pocket, he'll come iron.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't have to deal with the Turkish Air Force except when I would go visit some of the bases, which I had to do. But the guy that worked for us in our medical clinic there was a real, very, very good at his English versus Turkish. And also he was he didn't tell many people, but he was a dual national. He was both Greek and Turk. So he kept that real quiet whenever people were around.
Jason, I'm glad you enjoy visiting
anyone.
and being part of it. I really am.
Well, it's not too far apart. I retired in 87, Gilbert, so not too far apart after that. But you were in Madrid, and then you were in Izmir as well, I take it. Or where were you in Turkey? So there were, 3 or 4 different main places there you could be in Turkey. Which there was Izmir, and then there was, now I'm going to forget the names of the bases.
Well, since I've never been to any of those places, I'm no help.
I'm not going to belabor the point. As soon as I see them, I remember them, but right now I don't remember all the names of the bases in Turkey. Strange names, I'll tell you what. Turkish is a very strange language. It's constructed from the middle out, unlike
Baklava.
ours. It's very strange language to learn. Americans over there, we used to speak what was called Tarzan Turkish.
Is that like pidgin English?
Kinda, I guess you'd call it that, but it was constructed wrong. At Angelic, okay, yep, I was through there a couple of times. Yep. So if you were all over the place, were you flying, Gilbert? Were you getting deployed over there and coming in and going out via aircraft? Crew member, maybe? Because I met a few of those folks. Well, I'm about ready to, for me anyway, call it a day.
Yeah, I'm going to wait about another 16 minutes, wait till the half hour.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to see if Gilbert responds to this, but I'm...
yeah, it's getting kind of quiet.
Yeah, it is. In the Gulf War, Desert Storm.
Desert Shield.
Combat engineer and expert marksman. Okay. Well, that tells me a lot, Gilbert.
Speaking of expert marksman, when the guys going through basic at Fort Sam used to go for their marksman badge, I was a member of a competitive rifle team that practiced in the same indoor shooting range. And after about 6 months of being on that thing, I was consistently out shooting all of the guys that were going through basic and the people on my competitive rifle team. So
They wanted her to be a sniper, but she turned them down.
I would like to have gotten a marksman badge of some sort, but I never did.
Well, I got my expert ribbon a couple of times, but I never did anything with it. Didn't need to. The ramp is done. I mean, well, it's got to be.
I got to paint it.
Tim, I got to seal it and paint it yet. But the weather this last week's been kind of iffy for doing any work out there. But
You would love it.
I've still got to one more project that I've got to do and hopefully get some help with is to basically clean everything off the front porch, and that's going to take some work so that we can do the whole porch and the ramp at the same time, reseal it, restain it, and then paint it. But it's
I'm good with paintbrush.
it's entirely usable, so it's 100% usable right now. We just got the little cosmetic thing still going on with it, Tim.
Tim, I would love them. I might even make up a story on how I won them.
No, hang on to those badges, Tim. I've got mine somewhere. I don't know where mine are. I've still got my old ribbons, but I've never bothered to make a
Did you
memory
ever
box or
complete
vanity
camp
wall
here?
or anything like that out of it.
No, Lisa, we only competed at Fort Sam, actually.
Yeah, I got well, actually, I qualified with both M16 and then handguns. But I was raised in the NRA. I mean, I was shooting competitively by the time I was 12 years old. So so shooting a gun for me is, well, I put it this way: I killed a bobcat when I was 8, and that was my first, and that was an old.
Killed him a bar when he was only 3.
Well, he was old and he was tired and he was beat up and he was ready to go. And it was after a long debate with the people that I stayed with at that time, and the guy taught me how to shoot his 30-30. Because up to then I just had a 22, single shot 22, and that wasn't good enough. So he spent a day teaching me how to shoot that 30-30, and then he sent me off to go kill this bobcat. And I did.
Tim, this competitive rifle team I was on was a Boy Scout team, and I was their mascot because I was dating the leader's son for a while. And
I didn't
so
want to be a sniper either.
Pardon?
I'm sorry, I was talking to you, but I wouldn't want to be
okay.
a sniper either.
They let me go to him because I bugged the leader so much. And my boyfriend showed me how to fire the first time. And the only thing they would trust me with was the bolt action 22 at the time. And he put me down on the line in prone position and he showed me everything about how to fire it. Then he removed the bolt and stood behind me and told me to go ahead. Well, I was dumb enough. I didn't know you had to have a bolt in there. So I line everything up, hold my breath, squeeze the trigger, and nothing happened. So I thought, well, maybe I did it wrong. So I readjusted, lined everything up again, held my breath, squeezed the trigger, and still nothing happened. I turned around to ask the question, what was I doing wrong? And he's standing there with the bolt in his hand, and the entire team was laughing at me.
Which was wrong?
6 months later, I was out firing all of them.
There you go. Don't piss Kate off. She will find you and she will bury you. All right, folks. Adios. Happy New Year. We'll see you again next year. I hope everybody has a safe and happy New Year's Eve. I think we will. Probably won't do a darn thing, but we will.
Probably sit here and watch Doctor Who.
More likely. But y'all be safe. Be careful. Take care. Bye.
See you later, love.
Okay.
Yeah, Iron, it made me so angry that they would make fun of me like that I decided I was going to be the best I could. Everyone says Happy New Year. Be good, and thank you for the good words. I hope it's going to be a Happy New Year. I truly do. This year has been such a blessing. Dave and I were talking about that earlier this week. Talking about the blessings we've received this past year and how truly awesome this year has been for us. The Lord has reached down and blessed us so many things. It's hard to even remember all of them to say thank you. Um, I'm hoping that next year is just as good, and I'm hoping that we can continue to be a channel for blessings to others. So, yes, you're right, Lisa. God is truly amazing. He truly is. And fortunately for us, He uses us to bless others, and He uses others to bless us. And that's the way He works, and that's the way I love it. Well, my brothers were the same way. Told me I wasn't allowed to shoot because if a girl touched the gun, it would rust. They didn't like that I could hit the target without practice. One more quick story like that. My former husband worked for a company that did electronic repairs all the way back in the early 70s. I say former because he died of pancreatic cancer in 2003. But one of the things that the company that he worked for did was they had an annual picnic on some farmland that was owned by the guy that owned the company. And we went to one of the first barbecues out there, and I kept hearing gunfire. So I went to explore, and I found that down near the dump, some guys had stacked up a bunch of bottles, and they were shooting them. And there was a young man there that had a 44 Magnum. Now, when I learned to use a handgun, that's what I learned. I went 44 Magnum and a World War II German Luger. I watched him for a while, and then I went over and asked him, please let me fire some, see if I could hit it. Well, they laughed. No, they wouldn't let me do it. Well, finally, the guy with the 44 Magnum took pity on me. He had like 8 shots left, and there were 4 bottles on the fence they were shooting from. So he said that he would let me do them. He showed me how to hold it, how to stand, and how to aim it. And he said, now go ahead and see if you can get anywhere near him. And I had the gun hanging at my side, and I lifted it up, and I said, you mean like this? And I held it up like this. 4 shots, 4 bottles went down. Everybody standing there was shocked. They were just absolutely shocked. And I handed him his weapon back and walked away. I was so happy that I'd done that. They never stopped me from firing again. Let's see. Jason, you're right. Bless our Lord. Gilbert, pray twice every day and thank Him for everything, good and bad. That's what we're supposed to do. Iron Fire Horse, you take care. I'm glad to see you. You have a wonderful New Year's, and we'll see you in 2020. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't still be alive. So many of us can say that, Tim. Absolutely, that's true. Well, folks, it's almost 1:30. I'm going to let you go. I need to run over to Southern Blessed Homestead and say hello to them. Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friends and for joining us on Sundays for our visit. Have a happy New Year, and we'll see you all next Sunday. Bye, and God bless.